The galaxy had seen wars, calamities, and cataclysms, cosmic events that tore stars apart and devoured civilizations in one gulp. But nothing compared to what was coming. In the shadowy fringe of Sector 666, where no patrol dares linger and comets veer in avoidance, two legendary harbingers of destruction were set on a collision course: Lobo, the Czarnian death dealer, and Doomsday, the apocalyptic scourge of Krypton. It started on the planet Xylon 4, a ruthless outlaw world run by black market warlords and arms dealers. Lobo had been there, taking a bounty on the twin-headed crime boss Chog and Dim, who'd put a price on an intergalactic diplomat's head. As usual, Lobo did the job with style, by blowing up half the planet's black spire cities with a grin, a cigar, and his hook buried in alien flesh. But there was something else on Xylon 4, something buried deep in the crust, something ancient and left behind by a forgotten Kryptonian splinter sect. A vault, built to keep one being asleep forever. The bounty that Lobo had come to collect accidentally triggered an energy surge during the chaos of his massacre, one that pulsed down into the vault and began unlocking seals long forgotten. Doomsday woke up, not all at once. First came tremors, then the sky splitting. Then came screams and ash. Lobo was halfway across the desert, dragging the remains of Chog's second head, when he saw the mountain erupt in a geyser of molten rock. What stepped out wasn't just dangerous, it was familiar, too familiar. The monster that once killed Superman was alive, and he was angry. Doomsday had no logic, no reason, no morality. He existed only to destroy anything that moved, anything that lived. And as soon as he emerged, he rampaged across Xylon 4. Lobo, intrigued rather than terrified, stood on his space hog, arms crossed, cigar between his teeth. "Well, I'll be fragged," he muttered. "Ain't you that bone-faced ugly I heard about? The one that beat the Blue Boy Scout to death? Friggin' cool." Lobo didn't run. He followed. Word spread fast. Planets started evacuating. The United Worlds declared a level Omega emergency. Green Lanterns were dispatched and quickly destroyed. Superman was off-world dealing with a fifth-dimensional crisis. The burden of stopping Doomsday's second galactic war fell into a terrifying vacuum, until one voice echoed across the bounty hunter networks. 1 million intergalactic credits to anyone who can stop Doomsday. That's all Lobo needed. "Say no more, sunshine," he said, cracking his knuckles, revving up his space hog, and arming his chain with a fresh vial of Czarnian. Neurotoxin useless against someone like Doomsday. But Lobo liked style points. As Doomsday tore his way through asteroids and moons, Lobo tracked him across 3 systems. He watched the monster evolve with every fight, developing immunity to plasma, shrugging off black hole traps, absorbing gravitational anomalies. Doomsday was learning, adapting, and that thrilled Lobo. But it wasn't just the credits. No, there was something deeper. Lobo hated competition. Doomsday's rising body count was challenging. Lobo's brand as the ultimate bringer of carnage. Galactic news streams were already running headlines. Doomsday returns, the universe's greatest killer? That settled it. Nah, Lobo growled, flipping off a news drone. Ain't no boneface gonna steal my thunder. Time to remind the galaxy who the main man really is. Meanwhile, Doomsday landed on the desert world of Gorgul, reducing its industrial cities to rubble within hours. The planet's last defense forces were vaporized. The sky turned dark from smoke, the ground split with craters. Doomsday roared, a soundless howl, carried through telekinetic vibrations that shattered steel and bones. Lobo arrived shortly after. He landed on the burning plains, crushing a smoking mech skull under his boot. He dismounted from his hog, pulled his chain free, and looked at the towering beast with a grin. Doomsday turned, bones jutting from his fists like spears. The two stared at each other. There was no dialogue, no threats, just the pure ancient silence of monsters sizing each other up. 2 destroyers, 1 planet, 1 legacy. This wasn't just about credits anymore. This was about reputation, about dominance, about who would be remembered as the most brutal force the universe had ever seen. For Lobo, it was personal. For Doomsday, it was instinct. In that fiery silence, the wind carried ash like snowflakes. Cities burned in the background. The ground trembled beneath their feet. Lobo spat out his cigar. "Let's fraggin' dance, Bone Boy." The moment Lobo tossed his cigar to the scorched dirt of Gorgul, time seemed to slow. Doomsday didn't roar or posture. He charged, a living storm of bone, muscle, and hatred barreling forward like an extinction-level event. Lobo didn't flinch. He cracked his neck, snapped his fingers, and launched forward to meet the rampaging monster. Their collision sent a shockwave that flattened the remaining skeletons of skyscrapers and sent flaming debris spiraling into the sky. The ground split open like paper, creating chasms beneath them. Lobo's fist slammed into Doomsday's jaw, spinning the beast's head sideways. Doomsday responded by driving a jagged elbow into Lobo's ribs, puncturing clean through the Czarnian's side. "Oh, you little fraggin' cheater," Lobo coughed, pulling himself off the elbow spike and kicking, Doomsday with enough force to launch him into a mountain. The mountain didn't survive, but Doomsday emerged from the rubble angrier, sharper, evolving. Bone protrusions grew thicker, sharper, defense mechanisms responding to Lobo's attack style. His back erupted with new spinal blades as he charged again. This time he leapt, crashing down on Lobo with hammering fists that cracked the planet's mantle. Lobo bled, but he laughed. He lived for this. He unleashed his full arsenal. Explosive grenades laced with star core radiation, hyperdensity chain strikes, electromagnetic bolo traps wrapped around Doomsday's neck, dragging him through mountains. He even called in his space hog, loaded with a neutron cannon. The blast vaporized half the battlefield, and Doomsday stood up from the blast cloud, glowing with fury, parts of his bone armor melting and regenerating simultaneously. They fought for hours through firestorms, lightning strikes, and tectonic upheavals caused by their own clash. Doomsday hurled Lobo into orbit. Lobo used the momentum to come back with a dropkick that shattered Doomsday's collarbone into dust. But each time Lobo broke something, Doomsday grew stronger. His body learned. His brainless instinct encoded Lobo's patterns. He stopped reacting. He began anticipating. And that's when things changed. Doomsday caught Lobo mid-swing and slammed him repeatedly into the crust of Gorgul until the surface glowed molten red. Then grabbing Lobo's chain, Doomsday swung the Czarnian like a bludgeon into a volcanic ridge. The eruption swallowed them both in fire, but only one figure walked out. Doomsday, burning, cracked, steaming, but still walking. But then, from behind the smoke, Lobo, limbs broken, face charred, organs regenerating slowly in real time. He was dragging himself forward, coughing out blood and sarcasm. Not bad for a knockoff Hulk with no fashion sense. He pulled something from his belt, a glowing vial of Czarnian blood. The original strain, Lobo's ultimate trump card. He drank it and his body convulsed violently. Czarnian DNA surged through his bloodstream, triggering a temporary hyper-regenerative rampage state. His muscles swelled, his eyes glowed crimson, and for the next 5 minutes, Lobo matched Doomsday punch for punch. Fist cracked bone, bone split muscle. The planet beneath them screamed. Gorgul was dying, its core unstable. In their last charge, both warriors locked arms, roaring into each other's faces. The impact created a seismic quake that split the planet's equator. Lava burst skyward, but Doomsday's evolution had reached its peak. His reflexes became too fast. He predicted Lobo's last uppercut, caught his wrist, and brought his full power into one final blow, a backhand that ripped through the air and broke Lobo's spine in 4 places. Lobo hit the ground, twitching, broken. His healing factor struggled. For the first time in centuries, Lobo stayed down. Doomsday stood above him, roaring into the heavens as Gorgul began to collapse. But even as darkness closed in, Lobo smiled. Nice hit, bone face. You win this round. Winner, Doomsday. Lobo would eventually regenerate. He always did. But the galaxy had its answer. On that day, under a burning red sky and the ashes of a shattered world, Doomsday was crowned the ultimate engine of destruction. But somewhere, Out in the cold vacuum of space, Lobo's space hog cruised silently, waiting. The main man never dies. He only takes a break. And when he comes back, Doomsday better be ready for round 2.